All right.
Hello and welcome. It is so wonderful to be chatting with you, Catherine, and to be able to see your wonderful, marvelous, very calming and soothing face.
Likewise, Jackie.
Okay. So this afternoon we wanted to get together and actually very selfishly on my part, I wanted to have another conversation with you because we had a really wonderful conversation last week, just in terms of a check-in. And I like the idea of just sort of continuously checking in. It's a really important time,
Yeah.
especially for those of us who are juggling all of our various roles and responsibilities. And so really, I wanted us to have that conversation to, for a broader audience, because it was very comforting and soothing for me.
Yeah. No, I've had like several conversations with different clients and stuff like that. And one of the big things that comes up is that missing that connection with other people. And like, of course it's ideal when we can see people in person, but how much we really need to like continue to check in and connect with people on a regular basis. Cause that's how we are as human beings. And we need that,
Absolutely. And I think that because we're so passionate about the same kinds of things, so we're passionate about parents, we're passionate about mothers,
Yes.
we're particularly passionate about that very real and raw postpartum period.
Right.
And so I love collaborating with you, and I love chatting with you because I think we bring the same amount of passion and enthusiasm and nuance to a lot of these topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you doing? How are you doing this week? Well, I don't even know what day it is anymore to like figure
I
out
have no idea either.
how long this has been going on. Today's April 1st, April Fool's Day.
But no jokes. Seriously, I
No
can't handle.
jokes. No, seriously. Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking. And I'm actually doing pretty well. I really had to lower my expectations and like for myself, right? So in terms of, as the weeks have gone by, I've had to let go of certain things, right? Like trying to juggle full-time work, trying to be someone's partner, be someone's mother.
Yeah.
It's difficult, and the pressure was really intense, I found, for the first couple of weeks. And this week I finally feel like I'm getting a little bit of balance back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how about you?
I hear you. Well, I'm one of those people, like, I like jump in with both feet to like anything. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm really tired. Like, so I like jumped in, I'm like, I've got this. I like cleaned out all these closets and did all these like amazing things. And then all of a sudden I'm like really exhausted. Like I'm tired of, and now it's like the reality of like, okay, this is ongoing. We don't know how long. Like my kids are, my son just turned 11 last week. My daughter will be 7 this coming Monday. So we're in this birthday season during this too. So I was trying to juggle like how to like, make this a special time for them. Yeah, you can't see anybody, but your dad and I,
Right.
So that's been hard. But then, so trying to figure out like the schooling type stuff, and they don't have online schooling yet, like maybe not to the 13th, but they keep pushing out the date of when they will go back to school. And now are they really going to go back to school this school year? And, is that fine? Because we just need to worry about like the safety and, getting through this time. But it's a challenge of juggling that. And then, seeing clients and stuff like that who are, I have clients in all different sorts of scenarios, people that aren't able to work and people that are working a lot because they're doctors or, they're attorneys trying to help manage some of this stuff. And, it's a lot. A lot of people are taking on a lot of stuff and a lot of emotion. So it's like, how to like juggle that, and then realizing like, okay, like I've got to do some self-care here to manage myself, and I don't have to do like 1,000,001 things because it's impossible. Which is something I tell myself often. If this isn't new, but it's like a new normal of how to do that.
Yeah, and it's it's important what I hear you say, and what I hear a lot of moms say right now, that I'm working with, is this sort of pressure around productivity,
Yeah.
right? And so like this idea that we do have to clean out the closets, or I have to catch up on all of the laundry, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like there are reasons we don't do those things when we don't have the time. There are
Right.
reasons that we don't do
Yeah.
those things when we do have the time. And I guess one of the things that I really wanted to say to people, to different moms and to different women, is
Yeah.
you will engage this situation differently,
Yeah.
right? Some people need to have a very strict schedule,
Yes.
and work through that, and that keeps order and sanity in your home, and I say
Mhm.
more power to you. And
Right.
other people need to like snuggle on the couch and
Yeah.
just sort of like one breath at a time
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
And
So
there's
I
not a
guess what
right way to do it, you
no,
know?
exactly. There's really, really not a right way to do it. But I think that the messages that a lot of um, us moms are getting is that we must be productive at this time.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
that we must be superhuman and homeschool and do our full time job, and plan birthday parties, and
Yes.
pay tribute to all the healthcare workers,
Yeah.
and and I really find that a lot of that falls on the shoulders of mothers.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a perfect, I feel like I want to read it to you because I was like, someone shared it with me and I felt like this was like, I won't read you the whole thing, but it was like a perfect quote about basically what, we're dealing with. And it's by Emily King, Dr. Emily King. Have you heard of her?
Yes,
That public, I think you might have even shared it too.
I
I've
think
seen
I
it a
did.
few times.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just love that, like about, what we're being asked to do isn't humanly possible, right? To be a working parent or stay at home parent, part-time working parent. And now we're working, parenting, teaching, 3 different jobs, plus all the other little things. And so about how it's important that when you have to pick, because of at some point we will, is to choose connection. And I think that I just
Yes.
love that so much because I feel like we have all this pressure of like all these things that we have to do. And it isn't humanly possible. It's never humanly possible. I feel like we have a tough
No.
job as moms, especially and feeling torn because I hear it all the time. I experience it myself. And now it's like it's just like 10 times, 100 times worse than what it normally is. And it's like, oh my gosh, like how do you do that?
Absolutely. And I think that this goes along with what you and I both talk about,
Hmm.
often, online,
Yeah.
but also in person with our clients, um, is this this requirement for perfection,
Yeah.
right? And isn't it like strange and ironic and twisted that we
Hmm.
would think that there's a perfect way to do a
Yeah.
pandemic? Like, okay, I've never been in this situation before.
Yeah.
I've never experienced, this is unprecedented times, but
Right.
yet I'm going to become a teacher. I'm going to become an early childhood educator.
Yeah.
I'm going to become a work from home expert. I'm going to,
And
maintain.
let me do a big project too in the whole scheme.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Like
Help
maybe
me
we
design
should,
my house.
let's renovate. Let's renovate. But that's just the thing. It's like, really, it speaks to me
Yeah.
because it's what it says to me is like we just don't have a natural inclination or a default setting that says, hey, I can actually be compassionate with myself right
Hmm.
now. It's
Hmm.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to be scared and weak, or feel weak, or feel scared, or feel like
Hmm.
everything's coming
Yeah.
apart at the seams. Like I think the more anxious or the more muddled we get in our minds and things like
Yeah.
that. And to me, the at least part of the answer is just allow yourself.
Hmm.
Like just allow yourself to feel what you're
Yeah.
feeling, and also to do whatever it is you need to do to find comfort.
Right. Right. Yeah.
because I think we just don't allow ourselves, like we don't allow ourselves comfort, you know, like
Yeah.
instead of allowing ourselves maybe a piece of chocolate cake, we're saying, oh, you know what, I really should do a 30-day yoga challenge right now, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe a 30-day yoga challenge is going to be absolutely perfect for you.
Mhm.
Again, this is a very individual journey, but
Absolutely.
to think
Yeah.
that you need to pile more on your plate and like get fit in like
Yeah.
the time off you have during the global crisis. Like, just go easy on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's a message that I want mothers to hear. I want myself to hear. I
Yeah.
want people to hear. Just go easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like go easy. And like something I keep saying is like, how do we like stay in this moment? Because when we start to think about what's going to happen next week or next month or, whatever. Yes. Mommy's on her call. Okay. I will help you with that later. Okay. Yes. So this is the reality.
This is the
The
reality.
reality
Yes, yes.
of
The only
working.
reason my daughter hasn't done that is because she probably doesn't know where I am right now. Like, I'm hiding in the spare room.
I made the mistake of telling them that, like, I didn't have a client call, so they know, like, oh, you can't like interrupt mommy during like client. Like,
Mm,
so that I think she deems, like, she seems to somehow know and deems things at like a priority, like, can I interrupt mom level or not? So I'm
yeah.
sorry, she thought you were interruptible.
That's okay. I'm used to being interrupted.
Yes. So, so what were we saying? So, so I was like talking about like staying like in the
So
moment
just
and like,
that, that idea of going easy.
mhm, going easy and like staying in that moment of like, how do we focus on what we can do like right now, like listening to our bodies. And it's like, what is it that we need? Do we need to rest, or do we have more energy and we feel like we have to get things out, and do we need to go for a walk? Or do I have the energy today and I want to, clean out the pantry? Maybe
Mm.
not. Or do I have the energy and like, I feel like coming up with some crazy, project to do with my kids. Like, I'm just not the creative homeschooling parent that I've been seeing all over Instagram. But, they don't need me to be.
No, absolutely. And I think that that's really important. It's important to recognize, like, and to really own who you are in
Hmm.
this moment. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? In this moment, we're in sort of very difficult circumstances. What is your default setting when you're in really difficult circumstances?
Oh, that's
You
a good
know,
question. Yeah.
thinking about that, and thinking about how you can nurture that version of you,
Hmm.
for as long as you need to, before you feel like you've stabilized, or slightly stabilized, right? Like,
Yeah.
there is no, like I said, there is no perfect, there is no like goal state here.
Yeah.
The goal here is to be comfortable, have connection, right?
Hmm.
Right? What do I need in this moment? And
Yeah.
and staying in the moment rather than catastrophizing, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. So what helps you stay in the moment?
That's a really good question. For me, um, I think it is because a lot of my own personal practice and my practice with clients is rooted in mindfulness.
Yeah.
It is catching myself, right?
Hmm.
It is like allowing myself to see
Hmm.
that I have gone too far in one direction.
Hmm.
Like, we don't always catch ourselves going down an
No.
anxiety spiral or something like
Right.
that, but when we can bring awareness to that,
Yeah.
it's really helpful. And it's also been really, really helpful for me to recognize that I am not anxiety, right? Like, anxiety is not me, but anxiety is something that I experience. So I need to be familiar with it.
Right.
And I need to know what it looks like when it comes.
Mm-hmm.
So the last 2 weeks, my brain was really, really fuzzy. And for me, that can be a real sign of anxiety, right? When I
Okay.
can't concentrate or can't
Mm-hmm.
focus. And so really just trying to care for myself and tend to myself
Yeah.
in ways that are going to sort of help me reset or
Right.
balance.
Right. So
And
first, like
how about you?
recognizing, I like that,
Oh,
but
sorry.
I like that piece that you said, like just even recognizing what it is, like what are your signs that you know, hey, I'm going down that anxiety rabbit hole and taking everything with me, you know, like I think, well, like I was saying is like, I think me, it's noticing it too. And what are my signs? Like, you know, sometimes I think it's like kind of going inward and feeling like depressed where I don't want to be around people because it's like too much. Like I'm overstimulated with like all this stuff. And like I need a time, like I need a timeout, like I need to take a nap or something. Um,
Mm,
which is sometimes what I need is just like kind of space from like all the noise or all the stuff that's coming in and taking like a break, a timeout. It's like breathing. It's like staying in that moment. But I mean, I think I'm a big, like a nap usually kind of can help like reset me. I don't know what it is, but um, yeah. So like I did that on Sunday. Like I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of done with like all the stuff, you know? And it's not
mhm,
like it
mhm.
changes things, but it's like then my perspective is different when I'm feeling more rested. And I feel like this is kind of an exhausting time, even though, you know, for the most part, like people feel like, oh, I'm doing less stuff, like I'm home, right? I'm not really going out or running around and doing things, but just like a level of exhaustion that people are talking about that they haven't experienced before now.
Absolutely. It is really exhausting.
Yeah.
It's a real sort of mental load, you know,
Yeah.
when it comes to like just how to manage everything and how to manage the new stresses and pressures
Yeah.
and as you say, noise, right? That's all
Yeah.
around you. Like it's pretty crazy
Hmm.
to try to work with your children literally crawling on you, you know?
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is like the circumstance of a lot of moms and a lot of
Yeah.
parents. So I think it's really important to continuously remind ourselves
Yeah.
that we're in a unique moment,
Yeah.
right? I've seen a lot of things about how we're not actually homeschooling, we're crisis schooling, and that's a very different thing,
Oh, I
right?
kind of like that. Yeah. Yeah. We're not
Right?
homeschooling. We're not set up for that.
We're not. We are not. We have not thought about it. We don't have curricula. We
Yeah.
don't have, like, we are not,
Yeah.
we, and that's, when I gave myself permission to just be like, you know what? Like, we're just going to do whatever.
Hmm.
Like, she likes looking for bugs. Let's go look for bugs.
Yeah.
She likes looking for plants. Let's go look for plants. Like,
Yeah.
it's unreasonable
Hmm.
to think that we can do all of these things. So certainly the noise of the external has been replaced by this closeness,
Yeah.
right, of the noise within your house and the noise within your mind,
Yeah.
and the noise of I should be
Hmm.
doing all of these things that we frankly don't know how to do,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And so it's like, why would we think that we could do it perfectly?
Oh
It's
my
a
goodness.
whole new thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's right, kind of where we stand with the whole motherhood thing. It's like we're coming into this like no experience whatsoever. And of course, it's a huge learning curve. And like I said, my oldest just turned 11 and I still on a regular have no clue what I'm doing, you know,
Right.
because it's like always something new is popping up and it's like, oh gosh, how do I figure
Absolutely.
that out? You know, and nobody to tell me how to figure it out. Like, because each family, each kid, each experience is so unique. There's no manual. there's no
No,
there's no
absolutely.
easy way to do it. And so it's just kind of like playing it by ear and, you know, figuring out how to each do your own situation. So
That's exactly it. And really sort of respecting who you are and how you have to be as a
mhm,
mother or as a mother
mhm,
during a pandemic, right? Like just
right.
respecting that and owning it and saying, you know what? Homeschooling is my savior right now,
Yeah.
or homeschooling is my nightmare right now,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like just finding your place. There's no one way. There's no one way to do a pandemic, you know?
No one way. Just like there's, I always tell people that there's no one way to parent, and there's not there's no one right way, right? There's a lot of different ways to do it. And I think it's like figuring out exactly what works for you. Um, and maybe, you know, every day is a new experience. You know what I'm really good at in the whole homeschooling, crisis schooling, the subjects I'm really good at is recess and
Ooh.
PE, because we get
Oh,
to
yes.
park and run
Yes.
around and do that. So those are where we excel. Beyond that,
Yes. I'm not bad at like home ec and
oh, okay,
science.
okay,
You know, if science falls under like nature, right?
yeah, yeah. We do go
Um,
outside and do that.
so I think we should probably wrap up,
Yeah,
because this has been a really, really good check-in for me, for us, for
yeah.
hopefully those that who will listen.
Hmm.
But the last thing that I want to say, the last word for me is just again, trust yourself,
Right.
right? It's okay. It's okay to experience what you're experiencing.
Hmm.
Remember to connect. Remember to calm yourself. Remember to have compassion.
Yeah.
And what's your last word?
And I think just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, and I think it's like just listening to your body, listening to yourself of what it is that you need in this moment, because I mean that's where we start, right? We're trying to do things that everything else, but I think if you listen to yourself, and then that will help with the calming, and that will help bring you into this moment too. So
Absolutely. It is always my absolute pleasure to talk to you, Catherine, and to get to see you. So I hope we can do it again soon.
yes, I hope so too. And you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll chat soon. Bye.
Okay, talk soon.